We have the Lenovo Go Legion 2. This is going to be ASUS's worst nightmare. Or is it? Is it really that much of an upgrade? So we just opened this up here. It actually opens up this way. Check it out. Woo! It has this nice premium looking box that sits up on the top of the Lenovo Go. It actually comes with a decent pouch. Pleasantly surprised. Man, but I can say it's quite hefty. We're going to go over the technical specs in this in just a bit. So let's see what this is. Here comes the little charger. Nothing fancy, just looks like your typical laptop charger, I would call it. USB-C, probably 65 watts, similar to ASUS. But it is nice. It has a nice little feel to it. It's great that Lenovo does offer a charger because a lot of companies are offering less and less chargers. I know they're trying to save, go green, but we all know they just don't want to give us more product than what it is. And here is the Lenovo Go Legion 2. We're gonna open up this pouch. I'm pretty excited. Oh man. Don't get too excited over there. Oh, that would have been bad if we dropped that. There it is. What's inside the pouch? I feel like there's something here. Probably some sort of, I don't know what it is, to be honest. Let's find out what it is once we open up the other side. I guess we could put two and two together. Okay, I'm assuming it's like the stand for it. I guess you put it together. So that's all that's inside of here. And man, this device is quite hefty. This is it. Heavier than it looks. So you can actually pop this off. Almost just like a Nintendo Switch, practically. But just the Lenovo Go version. And then as soon as you put it back in, it just locks into place for this handheld device. Now when you take a closer look at it, it does have its standard Xbox controls here, which is of course the A, B, X, and Y. Has your joysticks. Now the joysticks are Hall effect, and so is the triggers are also Hall effect. LB, RB, left trigger and the right trigger. Two back pedals. Now you have an adjuster here, and it does even have a trackpad if you want to use it similar to like the Steam Deck for a mouse. On the top end, it does have its volume rockers, has a SD card slot, it does have a fingerprint reader, has a USB-C up to Thunderbolt 4, and on the bottom they also offer another USB-C accessory. It does come with a 3.5mm jack. Now technical specification that this Lenovo Legion Go does have a Z2 Extreme with 8 cores, 16 threads. It does have up to 32 gigabytes of RAM if you get the high-end model. And again, same thing with the Z2 Extreme, it has to be the high-end model. So it does have a 1 terabyte drive in this Lenovo Legion Go 2, 8.8-inch OLED display. Yes, OLED, something that we've really wanted inside of a device. You can quite imagine how excited I am to see how well the picture is going to look on this. Another specification that this does have is up to a 74 watt-hour battery. It concerns me quite a bit, especially on such a large display. How much battery life can we really pull out of the Lenovo Legion Go 2? Well-rounded speakers. Let's charge this up. Now I'm curious. I don't know if it really technically has a dock. If it doesn't, that's okay. I mean, we can always dock it ourselves here. All right, so you just pull it slightly from the bottom. It looks like it goes by USB-C. And yep, exactly what I thought. You just sit it here onto the side. Oh, okay. Now I figured out what it is. I guess one side is to kind of cover it up. Aha! So it has its own dock. So from here, you can actually flex that open, and then we'll give it its first boot. I see this wonderful large heatsink on the top. I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to be. So we're gonna hit that power button, and wow, how premium does that feel just turning it on? Doesn't feel like a cheap little rocker button. It gives you a nice full-size button where you can lay your finger upon. So when you first start up your device, it's going to be similar to if you've ever opened up Windows 11 in a laptop or your desktop. But just alone, it's already looking pretty nice how the display is looking. We're gonna go ahead and install it. We're gonna continue next. We're gonna hit yes. When it comes to Lenovo Legion's go-to wonderful OLED display, you can't help but keep your eyes on the display. It's just so attractive as it certainly sticks out in color. Now, if you're wondering about how the OS experience is, well, it's Windows 11. You still get all these wonderful pop-ups, all because the Xbox bar is not properly installed. If you don't install it, you're going to constantly get bombarded by Windows 11 for it. If you ever messed with a PC gaming console before, such as a Asus ROG Ally or a Steam Deck, it's going to have a very familiar feel, but Lenovo Go has its own type of software known as Legion Space. When you go to Legion Space, once it's installed, it has a couple features in here where it has its own store where you can purchase your games. Now, if you purchase these games, they're all going to end up going into Steam anyway. So you get some decent discounts. Also, you have the library of your games that you do have installed on your device. Plus, you do have your settings where you can set up your performance. You can set to 35 watts, like what I have it set at. SPPT, where I have it set to 37 watts. And I do have it set to also 5 watts. For your SoC settings, you could go to your display to set how you would like it. It has this wonderful 144 hertz display, 1920 by 1200 as we like it. We have RSR currently enabled. You can set your audio, and you do have your disk and drives where you can easily check for updates. The FPPT set to 45 watts. Now you can choose it to go fully performance. Now, when it comes to the controller side, here you can actually set your button mappings. You can take a look at the different profiles you look at. It's a wonderful UI where it makes it really easy to understand, especially if you want to customize your buttons. You can choose your joystick lights, which is going to be your RGBs, and you choose to have dynamic colors, or you prefer spiral rainbow. They do have joystick settings to where you can adjust dead zones for your stick as it defaults for 6%. The gyroscopic controls, if you prefer to have them enabled. You do have control calibration if you want to make sure that your controller is working properly. You do have a more section to where you can set control vibration modes, if you want to enable your touchpad, even if you want your touchpad to vibrate. Legion Space isn't too bad of an option to have, especially if you do have a Legion Go 2. It's a bit more condensed compared to something like Armory Crate. It's an optional install if you prefer to have it, as it's currently set as the top left button up here. We're gonna test the dead zones on this controller. Let's see how well it does for a handheld device. Now we're going to test the circularity. Wow, impressive. So we have an average error of 1.9%. That's the lowest I've ever seen a controller actually get for a gamepad device. That is impressive. Now take a look at this wonderful, gorgeous display that the Lenovo Legion Go 2 does certainly feature. The OLED looks unmatched, the colors are just profound, and especially during gaming sessions, you could just imagine how this would look. Now this is on a large 8.8 inch display, resolution of 1920 by 1200, and the nits are at 500 nits. The insane part is you can even push it up to 1100 nits of brightness if you really truly wanted to. This screen goes up to 144 hertz and certainly is one of the best displays that you can get on a device in the gaming PC handheld industry. So when you want to play games such as Doom, and now we can even detach these wonderful controllers by hitting the button back here, and same with the other one, just slightly push it down. Just easily separate them, just like if you're playing, like similar to like how it is to a Nintendo Switch, except you got these two large controllers that can actually fit a grown man's hand, such as mine's. You get the idea why they have the kickstand. You can certainly take advantage of it when you are on travel or away on trips, and you can sit the device actually a bit further away from you to make it give you more of a entertainment feel. and be able to enjoy your gaming experience. The only issues that I have is that the controllers are not as standard as your typical Xbox, as they are a bit more tighter compared to your standard Xbox controller. It's easy to adapt to, but if you're more used to a standard Xbox controller, it might not be your favorite controller to actually game on. What's it like to connect your device to a external monitor? We'll test it out and see how it goes. Now, this is on the Asus PG34WCDM. You can still enjoy a lot of your favorite titles such as Doom, Battlefield 6. You could play some Elden Ring. Lenovo Legion Go 2 does a fantastic job playing on an external monitor. You can easily take your device on the go, hook it up to a monitor, and enjoy some of your favorite titles, all thanks to USB-C, as it acts just like DisplayPort. Now let's get to the performance of the Lenovo Legion Go 2, because I know you're dying to know exactly what they are. For Steel Nomad Lite, it reached a performance of up to 3,309. Now when it came to Firestrike, it reached up to 8,998. When it came to Tomb Raider, at maximum SoC usage, 43 frames per second, Cyberpunk 2077, it reached as high as up to 55.37. Now, let me just remind you, this is all without frame generation, because I know a lot of people out there are not fans of frame generation. But I can tell you, if you're curious about how well it can perform, Battlefield 6 reached as high as 144 frames. We could take full advantage of it on Battlefield 6. Metro Exodus, we got as high as 25.49. With Doom Dark Ages benchmark as high as 29.39. Final Fantasy 15 reached a score of 4,634. Black Myth Wukong reached as high as 85 frames per second. And when it came to Monster Hunter's Wilds, it reached as high as 42.72 frames. It's still quite the beast, especially if you want to game on the go. And when it comes to temperatures, it reached as high as about 40 to 41 degrees Celsius. And there were times where it was on standby, where I seen incredible heat come out of the Lenovo Legion Go. It could have been something that caused some background surfaces that certainly had caused the issue, because I was reaching as high as 62 to 63 degrees Celsius. That's really high, especially for a handheld device. Of course, that could affect the battery usage. And speaking of battery usage, when it comes to the Lenovo Legion Go 2, it has 74 watt hours on such a large 8.8-inch OLED display. You might not exactly guess on how well the battery did last. In fact, it lasted 2 hours and 20 minutes. I was quite impressed with the Lenovo Legion Go 2. I was expecting it to die off relatively quickly, but even with the custom performance settings, it seemed to hold its own. Here are some of the things I certainly do love about the device. Now, even though it is a bit wieldy to hold, it's still very comfortable. In fact, it's very easy to be able to grab this with your hands, take it on the go. The Hall effect sticks is really what makes this device shine a lot. This beautiful OLED display certainly makes your games pop out even more and even more enjoyable. Playing games such as Battlefield 6 just feels cinematic. I can't imagine if you did customize the software, you ended up going with something like Bazzite on the Lenovo Legion Go 2. I would think it would be quite the beast. I would certainly expect even higher benchmarks if that is the case. Now, what I don't like about the Lenovo Legion Go 2 are, well, it's actually quite the list. In fact, I'm going to nitpick at the smallest things first, which is the USB-C port up on the top. It seems a little bit finicky when you do plug in USB-C. It doesn't sit exactly right, and it's actually a bit wiggly. When it comes to playing Battlefield 6, you do run into multiple errors, but more or so that is more game related. But what I don't like is Legion Space. I'm not really a big fan of it. You can certainly uninstall it if you do not like it. The controls when it comes to the Lenovo Legion Go 2, it's a bit tighter than what I am used to. I prefer more of a spread out control, especially when I'm gaming on the go. So it does cause my hands to cramp up after about 40 minutes into gaming. I would need to take a little break or so when I do use the device. It is a bit heavier. There's the weird placement of USB-C here on the bottom. I can understand why they did it. I get it. If you're going to use the USB-C dock, especially Lenovo's dock, it's going to use that accessory to sit your Lenovo Legion Go 2 to where you're able to power up your dock on the bottom instead of manually having to plug it into the top. I get that part. But sometimes if you want to use an SSD or a different USB-C device, even a controller, it's going to be quite the pain because you cannot sit it up like this with the kickstand. At least give it enough height. If you do give it a kickstand, Lenovo, you give space for a USB-C to be plugged in, or at least put it up on the top, similar to what they do on some other PC handheld devices. What really sticks out is the specifications are quite wonderful. Windows 11 Home and plus the other factors of power limitation when it comes to the OS's design makes it feel like you are crippling the true power of the Lenovo Legion Go 2, but certainly that could be fixed. Now, is the device worth getting? You are going to spend quite a pretty penny. It's $1,400 for this Lenovo Legion Go 2. It does come with this beautiful, gorgeous OLED display. The Hall effect stick certainly upped the ante. Is this device really worth spending well over $1,300? And well, that depends. If you are more of a PC gamer on the go and you don't really have time to play PC games, you're always traveling, you're always elsewhere but home, maybe it is a device for you. But just remember, you are spending $1,300 on this device, and there are other PC gaming handhelds or gaming handhelds where they are a bit more fair when it comes to pricing. Now, when it's not worth it is especially if you game PC at home. And the reason why I say that is because when you are more at home and you already have a PC or you have a console, you're always going to end up reverting back to it because it's just for a comfort level. Especially if you're not always traveling, it's not really going to be useful in that sense for you. If I'm going to give the Lenovo Legion Go 2 a score, I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, and thank you guys so much for watching.